Meet Kipper.
Ouch!
Kipper the Dog.
What shall I do today?
Kipper. Another one of those great little-known cartoons of the late 90s that made my childhood just that much better. You all know Kipper, right? The dog with the slipper? That's Kipper. Kipper the Dog. Oh, by the way, that's a toad, not a frog. Yep, I'm finally doing it. Just a little over 7 years since I teased it in my Christmas traditions video.
Hello. It's here, Kipper. It's here.
My own little love letter to Kipper is here.
Oh, Kipper, come and see.
This Kipper video was always going to be one of the first videos I made after the big hiatus, but I actually got a little hesitant when Sarah Seraph dropped a deep dive into the series a few weeks back, which, if you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend you do. It's a great video, and she goes into far greater detail on some aspects of the series than I have time to do here. Truth be told though, watching that video only ended in me wanting to make this video more, as it triggered the great Kipper binge of 25. And if nothing else, more videos about Kipper on the internet certainly doesn't hurt. I'm just gonna come out and say it, I love Kipper. It's one of my favorite children's series of all time, and that's not just because of how much nostalgia I hold for it. The show itself is frankly amazing. It's far more chill and simple than you might expect from a kid's show, but somehow also manages to be far more engaging than most, even when rewatching as an adult. For the uninitiated, Kipper follows Kipper the Dog as he navigates both whimsical and ordinary daily adventures with his group of friends. Interestingly, all of which are dogs, except for Pig and Arnold, who are pigs. Like a lot of kids' shows, Kipper is also based on an equally charming book series written by the aptly titled Mick Inkpen.
Hey Kipper, there's loads of free Kipper books now with fairy fabric softener.
What's a Kipper book?
What's a fabric softener?
Though he first appeared in the book The Blue Balloon in 1989, it wasn't until 1991's Kipper that the dog with the slipper would make his proper debut. Unfortunately, I didn't have the pleasure of growing up with the Kipper books as a kid, but a quick glance at them online proves that they were just as thoughtful and charming as the TV series that followed. In fact, the art style and writing for the series have basically been ripped straight from the books themselves. To the unacquainted, the world of Kipper probably looks rather dull. Most scenes, especially the ones that take place in Kipper's house, take place in a white void with only the important bits colored in. Give it a chance, however, and you'll quickly see that this art style is very intentional and quite the opposite of lazy. The blank bits, which if you haven't guessed are meant to mimic the page of a storybook, are used to spark the imagination of the viewer. The same can be said about the music of the series. The show has an incredible jazzy theme song that somehow manages to make a banger out of such lyrics as "The Dog with the Slipper" and "He can do this, he can do that." The general ambient tracks are also pretty enticing. The show tends to use a slowed instrumental of the theme tune for slower moments, and a much faster piano version for the more exciting moments. Some other great tracks also exist, and each fit in wonderfully with the overall atmosphere of the series. It's hard not to be entranced by Kipper and the world around him. Imagine having all the freedoms of an adult while also having the financial freedoms and curiosity of a child. That's the life Kipper leads, and watching him navigate through that is actually very fascinating. Whether it be a visit to the park, or simply helping a friend tear down wallpaper, there's an adventure around every corner with Kipper. While I'd likely still enjoy a series purely about Kipper's antics on his own, the series is brought to new heights when Kipper hangs out with his friends. Though Kipper has a rather small cast, it's absolutely packed with personality, and in fact, it's the antics Kipper gets up to with his friends that really take the series up to another level. My personal favorite is Kipper's best friend Tiger, a rather smug Scottish terrier who seems to think he's wise beyond his years. Tiger often seems to feel that he knows best, and although good intentioned, he usually manages to get his friends more in trouble than had he had just left things alone. Here's a bit of humorous PJ John trivia for you. When I started playing Minecraft and watching the Yogscast back in the Stone Age days of 2011, I found Simon Lane's voice to be incredibly similar to Tiger's. So much so, in fact, that little me was half convinced that Simon had actually voiced Tiger himself.
Oh my god, it's terribly snowy. What on earth happened here?
Yes, it won't last though. It'll all be gone by tomorrow.
A quick Google search will tell you that no, Simon Lane did not in fact voice Tiger. That honor belongs to Chris Lang. Do I still think they sound similar? No, not really at all. But I still think it's really funny that little Minecraft brain me imagined Simon's voice coming out of Tiger.
I'm a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy, diggy hole. Diggy.
Speaking of Chris Lang, the man voiced every main character in the series aside from Kipper himself, who was voiced by Martin Clunes. This is actually crazy to me, because until I heard that little factoid in Sarah Seraph's video, I could have been convinced that some other Yogscast member voiced Pig and Jake. Pig is also another character that I always looked forward to showing up. Pig's often shown to be the more nervous of the group, likely because he's always caring for his little cousin Arnold. Like, seriously, where are this man's parents? For some reason, I always believed Pig to be a girl growing up, but nope, he's clearly stayed to be a boy several times in the series. Kipper is also joined by several other more minor characters over the course of the series, such as Jake, a kind-hearted sheepdog who loves a good adventure. Though some listings consider Jake a main character, he appears in far less episodes than the other members of the gang, so I don't think I'd consider him one myself. Another personal favorite of mine is Mouse. Now, no doubt, she's definitely a minor character with only 4 major appearances, but she still managed to make a big splash in my little heart. Though she can be messy, she's incredibly cute, and was by far my favorite character back in the day, and I still believe her debut episode is one of the most charming in the series. In fact, I'd be hard-pressed to find a bad episode of Kipper. Even the most bland have just the right amount of charm to keep it interesting, for both children, and I would even venture to say adults alike. The beauty of Kipper is that it's a show that anyone can enjoy, as long as you keep an open mind. Yes, it's made for kids, but its laid-back, relaxing nature makes it perfect for watching and winding down after a long, hard day. Nowadays, Kipper is another one of those shows that have been stranded in the sea of obscurity. However, over the last few years, Fisher-Price, the current owners of the brands associated with the now-defunct Hit Entertainment, have begun posting full episodes of the series on YouTube. Some of these videos have millions of views, so obviously the Kipper fandom is still alive, and children everywhere still have a chance to meet Kipper and his group of ever-so-clever friends. It's a shame that something as wonderful as Kipper has all but been forgotten the last decade or so, but honestly, I'd prefer he stay on the obscure side than be turned into a husk of his former self in some cheap CGI reboot. And as nice as it would be to see new Kipper content, I can't imagine a world where a successful Kipper reboot would be as laid back as the original, when modern producers have to fight for the attention spans of children growing up in the brain rot generation. That's all the time we have today for Things Theater. I hope you all had a wonderful time meeting or revisiting The Dog with the Slipper. For more information on Kipper, I'd highly recommend Sarah Seraph's deep dive on the series. It's a wonderful video, and if nothing else, I'm just glad to know that Kipper means just as much to her as he does to me. Be sure to like and subscribe for more of the most obscure content on the internet. I've had a big boost of subscribers lately, and I couldn't be happier to meet each and every one of you. Until next time, I've been PJ John, and he's been Kipper the Dog. Now that's a frog.